All right, guys, let me know if the audio is good and we will get started, I guess. Let me know if the audio is good. And like I said, we'll get going here. Cool. All right, so we'll give it about, I don't know, 30 seconds, I guess, here, and let a few more people get in here. And yeah. All right, so yeah, like I was saying on the title here, final days of Harvest 2020. So we are down to 140 acres of corn on ours, 70 acres, roughly, give or take, on custom work, which is 100% corn as of right now. We've got all the beans. We got all the beans done on custom work. Phew. Would have been about 2.5. Well, it was longer than that, probably closer to 3 weeks ago. So we just have 70 acres of corn roughly over there, give or take, probably 65, 70, 65 or 70, I would say. And then 40 acres of double crop. So the plan is, as of right now, Dad and I got quite a few loads hauled up as of a total bushel count. I would have to set and figure, but we got a few loads moved up to the port and got some contracts filled, and basically started in some VTing tonight again with the 4650. Basically, just trying to catch up on cover crop acres. And yeah, so the plan then is starting tomorrow, since we made enough room roughly that we can figure on getting the majority of our corn left to fit into one bin. For the most part, we know we're going to have to haul more out. We just know that the majority of what we're going to pick, at least tomorrow, we know will fit in the bin. Tuesday will be the day that we'll finish on corn. And then Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, just depending on when we get done with corn that day, we'll move over and do the double crop beans, which we only have like 40 acres. So you're only talking like, I don't know, if they make 50, they'll make, you'll have 2 truckloads. If they make less than that, so figure on, I don't know, maybe hopefully 2 truckloads. And then after that, we'll just move over and knock out the rest of custom work this week and then be done. So shouldn't be long. Like I said, final days. So you're talking probably Saturday we'll be done. So hey, I really appreciate that, Blake. How's the weather been? Cold. I'm actually like freezing right now, even though it's like 70 in the office right now. I was outside and it's just like I'm completely froze right now. But it's probably like, I think my phone was saying 30 or 32 degrees out, so it's cold. Yesterday it was probably about 38, 40. I don't know. We were up by the lake quite a bit we were up by the lake quite a bit today, and with the winds coming off the lake, it was insanely cold up there. White caps up there, and you're talking at least 6 to 7 foot waves up in Lake Michigan. Yeah, it was pretty cold. Did the soil samples pay off this year? Oh, do you mean the tissue tests that we did? Yeah, the tissue tests. Yeah. Yeah, because we've been soil sampling for I couldn't even tell you how many years. It's been over 20, 25. Put it this way, it's been longer than that. It's been, I couldn't even tell you how many years we've been soil sampling because honestly, I don't even know. It's a long time, put it that way. But anyways, on the tissue testing, which on this, back to soil sampling real quick, I know some of you guys are going to ask me on like grid, are you doing by zone? Are you doing management zone? Stuff like that. We don't do any grid sampling. Our guys that we work with don't do grid sampling. We actually do it based off of management zones. So I know I'm going to get that question asked. So just throwing that out there. So tests. I think what we figured, I can't remember what we actually figured offhand, how much those cost on a cost per acre basis. It's literally next to nothing and they easily pay for themselves. So it's kind of like a no-brainer to do, as long as you're willing to do something basically to, if your nitrogen or something, let's just say something is thrown out of balance and you know that you can correct it or take action to correct it. If you're going to take steps or action to do something based on the results that you're seeing or getting, then they're easily going to pay for themselves. If you're just getting them just to see, what's going on out there, but you're not going to do nothing, are they going to pay? Probably not. But at least it gives you an idea of what's going on at that given time. So, why are all tractors diesel? Not all tractors are diesel, actually. There's some gas ones out there, but if you look at today's market, as of all of the tractors are currently diesel. So, but if you look back, say 30, 40, 50 years ago, there was quite a few gas ones also. So how's the new dog doing? Well, he is currently passed out over there in front of the sofa, but full of energy, just like what Bela was. And, all of you guys would say, oh, puppies are always full of energy. Bela was an exception. And anybody that's on here right now that's actually met Bela before, you guys can attest to that 110%. And this dog it's not bad, but I'm just saying, he's just as bad as what Bela was. So, our John Deere salesman came out. What was it? Not yesterday. I want to say Friday. Today's Sunday. Yeah, Friday. So basically, it was to basically talk on some purchase ideas. I was poking and prodding him on Facebook about the 4650. He really wants us to trade the 4650 off for an 8245R, which I don't want to trade that off. There's no reason, one, to trade it off. There's no reason to sell it. It's depreciated out, and it's not worth enough on trade to even consider doing anything with it. It's not worth selling it. One, also, it has a lot of sentimental value. That was the last tractor that we bought brand new. And then taking that even farther back, the 4630 was another tractor that we bought brand new back in 1974. So both of those I don't want to get rid of. There's absolutely no reason to get rid of them. Would be cool someday to basically restore them both. That's weird. Notification on my phone, but so he really wants us to do something with a tractor as far as with an 8245R, and we put the 4650 on the vertical till and started doing some, I wouldn't say serious acres, but we were doing more acres than what we normally do with the 4650 on the vertical till this year. And it's not so much the realization that why haven't we been doing this? It's just more, why can't we? We've got the capabilities with the 4650, throw that thing on the vertical till, get some acres knocked out while the 8530 is on the grain cart. There's no reason to be sitting swapping the grain cart out for the vertical till on the 8530 all the time. Just throw the 4650 on there. It's not a big deal. But some of you would say, what is the 4650 even capable of pulling the vertical till when you said it's 8 to 10 horsepower per foot needed for the vertical till? Well, the vertical till is 30 foot, and yes, it would take between 280 and 300 horse to pull it based off of Great Plains' engineered specs on a horsepower per foot basis. The 4650, Dad is estimating based on where we have dynoed it before on the last overhaul, is putting out between 240 and 250 engine horse. Now, if you take that on a PTO horsepower scale, you're looking at about 220, 225. So would an 8245R be a realistic replacement? Well, considering an 8245R puts out about 235-ish, I believe, 236-ish engine horsepower, technically you'd be looking at an 8245R would be like the new version of the 4650. Would that be able to pull a vertical till like what we've got? Some would argue yes. The salesman and I both agreed no. So just because the 4650 can do it doesn't mean the 8245R can do it. Now, both the salesman and I both agree that an 8245R is not something that we should be looking at, even though he thinks that, again, also that we should do something, which I agree. I mean, it to spread hours, yeah, but you bought the tractor to use it, which I'm referring to the 8530, which the 8530 is, hours are measured differently on the 8530 or not just the 8530, but also a lot of the majority of the newer tractors. I can't remember when they started doing this. Probably real-time hours are measured, I think, starting when I think they started doing that around when they came out the 8000 series, I think, right? Because engine RPM hours were done, I think, the 60 series, I think. And then when they came out with, say, like the 8010s and stuff like that, I think that's when they started doing hours based on real-time hours. So basically, if you go out in the field right now and work 5 hours with the 8530, you just put 5 hours on the tack, basically. So we bought the tractor on an auction. Most of you guys know that. Some of you guys don't. We bought the tractor back in, I think, 2017, I want to say. 2017 or 18. And we bought that with 4214 on it. And it is currently at, I think, 4810. And so basically you're looking at about 600 hours, roughly. But again, that is real-time hours put on there and not engine RPM hours. So that is two different it's just completely different as far as how hours are measured. So, and the life of the engine, basically, I mean, it's two different things there. So the 8530, the previous owner, you're talking, what he said was grain cart and planning with a 1632 Kenzie split row. So not a hard life whatsoever. And are we beating the crap out of it? By any means, no. So it's not like we're abusing it and putting hard stressed hours on it by any means. So that is, a lot of you guys say that we're putting a lot of hours on that. Yeah, we're putting a lot of hours on it just because, well, some of the things we're doing with it, some tractors that we have cannot do, such as the 4650. I know a lot of you guys really wanted to see that on the 28 applicator. That does not have 4 SCVs. It's got 3. It needs 4, though. You need that 4th one for the pump. So that's why the 8530 is on the applicator, and is 330 horse overkill for just pulling an applicator that's not even injecting anything. It's literally just a toolbar with a tank and Y drops. Yeah, it's super overkill. You could put the 4430 on it if you wanted to, if it had 4 SCVs, which it doesn't. So there it goes back to say, why don't you put the 4650 on the drill? The 4630, I'll back up a little bit here. The 4630 was originally on the 16 row. And when we went to a lot more precision planting stuff, which by any means as what we are currently at now with precision planting versus, all the products that they have now for the planter, we don't have a lot of precision planting stuff. But back then, that was quite a bit of precision planting stuff that we were running. So when we started putting, when we wanted to put row cleaners on and wanted to do this and wanted to do that to the planter, we decided to switch the 4630 off the planter and put it on the drill, and switch the 4650 off the drill and put it on the planter, which that was pretty smart. But the 4630 one is getting old as far as age is really catching up to it, and it's kind of time to not so much retire it, but more slow down the amount of use that we're actually putting out with it. So, and also the markers are virtually shot in the drill. I mean, it's to the point where if we wanted to use them one more season, we're looking at either buying new markers or, rebuilding what's already been rebuilt probably once or twice before. So it's kind of like, well, you can run auto steer with the 8530, but you can also do that with the 4650. So why don't you put the 8530 on the planter? That is entirely up to Dad. That was Dad's choice 110% there, because I flat out asked Dad when we first got it, I'm like, so you're going to put this on the planter, right? Well, no. I'm like, well, what's the deal? Well, I have everything perfectly laid out in the 4650. I know exactly what I need to do with that transmission and everything as far as coming up to the end and turning and everything. And even though the IVT would be awesome on the planter, just dial your speed and go, he doesn't have enough time in that tractor to fully grasp everything on how to run that IVT yet, which I totally understand. That's fine. So with a future planter purchase someday in the next 5 years, let's just say, 24 row someday, which that's realistic. The 8530 will definitely go on the planter then. So what combine? So, well, I guess before I answer your guys' questions on the combine there, so back to like the whole tractor purchase type thing, which we're not even considering doing. It was more just, like I said, me just poking and prodding the dealer because I just wanted him to bring me out a tractor to demo at that point, just to, I don't know, demo. I mean, my God, it's, I tried, guys. I know I talked about this on the last stream, but I tried. We talked tractors a little bit over the phone, really. I didn't even get to talk to him in person because the way, that video will come out and you guys will understand what the heck happened there. But we were on the last pass. Malden was closing in like the next half hour, and there was a load of wet corn sitting there, and it was kind of like we needed to get the truck empty. So I hightailed it with the grain cart while the salesman was just getting there to get that semi over to Malden and get that dumped. So in that hour and a half time frame that he was there, I was over at the elevator, so I couldn't get to him then. But we did talk on the phone, and basically realistically, like an 82, 85R would be something that would be probably something that would be right up our alley. So something like an 82, 85R or higher, probably like an 82, 85R to like an 83, 60 at the most, just to have that capability. So, but that's all beside the point, because we're not going to do anything with the tractor. That was, again, just me trying to get a demo out of something that's not even going to happen in the next few years. So what actually is being considered, though, is a sprayer, because like Dad told the salesman, he's like, "Oh, Matt, I can tell you right now, I'm not buying a tractor." And he was kind of taken back by it. It's just like, yeah, that was the whole reason why he came out. But, I was going to tell him that anyways. It's just like, yeah, we're not buying a tractor. I just want you to bring me out one so I can demo one for YouTube. But he perked right up when we heard that we were looking for a sprayer. And it's just like, well, we need to do something. It's obvious. It's getting to that point where it's like we need to look at doing something. And we got into talking about Haggis. I guess they ended up talking about Haggis and discussing, one, what they even have available, which I guess something, and he's just understanding, he understands where our price range would be coming at, and basically throwing stuff out at us that he knows that what would, he's not throwing out like a OSTS 12 that only has like 800 hours on it and is listed at like $289,000. No, he's not throwing stuff like that at us. He has our realistic price range and what we're looking at. So he said he was getting an STS 14 in, and be something that we might be interested in, because first thing he asked Dad was, well, what size boom width would you want? And Dad's like, well, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to want a 120-foot boom. And he goes like, all right. And he goes like, well, our reason behind that is because someday we want to go to a 40-foot bean planter and set up tram lines to side beans. 30-inch rows, you wouldn't have to set up tram lines. So jumping off of that and onto 15-inch row beans, we're considering going to a 40-foot bean planter, not next year, but within the next couple of years here, going to a 40-foot bean planter and doing 15-inch. And at least Dad's considering 100% 15-inch. I'm considering either 15 or 20, and doing tram lines to basically match with the sprayer and be able to go down and side dress either 15 or 20-inch row beans with Y drops in. So basically use the applicator setup that we have and Y drop 15 or 20-inch row beans. Dad and I talked on the 30-inch row beans. We like the 30-inch row beans to a point. We feel you're still sacrificing 5 to 10 bushel based on what we saw and what, along with the weed control. The weed control, 30-inch row beans, at least for our beans this year, were absolutely phenomenal as far as being clean, not only with weed pressure, but also with disease. I mean, they were clean. I mean, the residuals did their job. We did our post with Icamba out there where we could, and the program worked great. I mean, it was no different than how we treat our drilled beans, and it worked good. We just feel you're still sacrificing 5 to 10 bushel and leaving that on the table with 30-inch row beans. So with 7.5s, you're not able to side dress them. And we just feel that 15-inch row beans just bring that perfect happy medium and still have that capability to side dress. So that's kind of where we're at there. So that's our whole reasoning behind wanting to go to 120 foot boom, because at that point, we need to be locked in on a boom width that's going to match the soybean planter to set up tram lines in order to do side dressing on beans. So that's basically why we're shooting for 120, or we're locking ourselves into 120 foot to get a 40 foot bean planter. So that's where we're at there. So he goes like, well, I got an Haggy STS 14, which Dad's like, isn't that a little bit bigger of a tank? He's like, yeah, that's 1,400 gallon. He didn't say what year, so I can go on their website and probably find it real quick because they probably only have a couple STS 14s. But he goes like now you guys could probably tell me more on this, which I've heard from some guys when I was talking with guys on Haggies, I think earlier than last year. Haggy I knew, I think around 2014, I think it was 2000, would have been 2014, I think, was when they came out with the new style Haggies, or switched their model design or whatever. Came out with a new style, I think it was an aluminum boom, I think. I know they have an aluminum boom now, but I think back in 14 was when they started that. Maybe, I don't know. You guys can tell me on that more if you guys know. The STS 14 that he was basically throwing out to us was the older, I guess, old style 120 foot boom, which he said the old style 120 foot boom versus new style isn't as good, which hence why they came out with the new version, because they did a lot of changes to that. And I think that was when they switched to aluminum, I want to say. I don't know. Some of you guys on here that might know, just answer that, I guess, or let me know. Yeah, that's kind of where he sat there. He's kind of like, well, at the hours that you'd be looking at for a Haggy, you're going to be in that range where there's going to be a lot of stuff you're going to be needing to do to them. So you're more better off looking at a John Deere, which I would highly recommend the John Deere. He said, we feel the John Deeres are a lot better as for most applications for what you're doing. Now, Haggy is really nice, but you're going to a different price range there. So for basically gearing us for our operation, basically saying a John Deere would be more suitable for us, considering that, one, we're not a specialty grower as far as tomatoes, seed corn, stuff like that goes. So we're not doing a lot of really you don't even need a Haggy for tomatoes, but more seed corn wise, you really still don't even need a Haggy for seed corn either, because technically boom clearance on a John Deere could still go over seed corn. But mostly, I guess, for our operation, really, as far as postseason spring or post-emerge spring, as far as late season goes, like fungicide applications, we don't really plan on doing any with that, because we've been talking with neighbors that do that, or have tried that some, as far as doing their own, as far as fungicide goes. And it's not as easy as the way it sounds, which I agree. I mean, it would not sound fun going out there and trying to find rows and stuff. Well, it's not about finding rows. It's just about staying on them. And especially on breezy days and stuff, which some of you guys would just say, well, use RTK. Well, it's not that simple. So, it's a lot easier just to have it done via plane, which some argue on application there. Are you getting a good application with a plane? Well, from what we saw this year, we're pretty impressed with the application, and we actually went with a local guy this year who actually farms also, and he did a fantastic job, in my opinion, as far as application goes with the fungicide with the plane. So also, you're getting less tracks in through the corn late season and knocking down a heck of a lot less corn versus a plane, so which is virtually 0. So at least should be 0. So, but yeah, so that is where we're at there with a sprayer. So he goes like, well, I would recommend a John Deere. And he's like, we've got a sprayer coming in, and I think it would be well suited for you guys. 120-foot boom, R series, and it's got this many hours on it, blah blah blah, and 1,200-gallon tank, and this is kind of right up your alley as far as how well it's been maintained. We know you guys would know who it's basically been from, and yeah, so that. I'm not saying we're doing anything, but we're considering it, and it would be really nice to have one, I guess, piece of the puzzle there as far as beans go. Because, like I told Dad when we were discussing this in the combine the other day, before the salesman even came out on, and we were discussing sprayers. Basically, we were saying, what do we need to go to as far as beans go? And we both agreed it's like, all right, 15 intro beans, which I'm still on the fence on either 15s or 20s at that point. And whether how we were going to go about doing it. And I said, well, one of the biggest things we don't have is a sprayer besides 15 intro beans as far as that goes. We don't obviously have the planter, but we still have the capabilities to do it with the drill. But if we're going to do it, we're going to end up getting a planter at that point, which we may talk to the neighbor next year, or at least this winter, and say, hey, would you bring your 15 intro bean planter over and do a couple passes by our 30s, and we'll keep the 30s untreated as far as side dressing goes, and just have a check there between 15s and 30s under irrigation. That way we've got a comparison there. But, like what Dad and I were discussing there, it's like, all right, so what do we need to do as far as, tram lines go? It's like, well, get a 40-foot bean planter. Then in order to do that, you'd need a 120-foot boom sprayer. And I'm like, well, that's one of the biggest things we don't have there is a sprayer. And that actually that would match that. I mean, we've got a 60-foot setup that we've got now with the 4230 and 800-gallon capacity between all three tanks that are on there, but it just would not work on the setup that what we want. I mean, you would have to have, essentially, if you went to a 40-foot bean planter and we kept our current setup, you'd have to have two different sets of tram lines out there, one for the sprayer and one for the side dress applicator, which it would just be so much easier just to have it all set up on 40-foot tram lines instead of, two different sets of tram lines out there. So that's kind of where we're at there as far as that goes. So, but I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about that as far as the tractors go, as far as updating the 4650, like I said, we're not getting rid of that in my lifetime. That will not be gone. Same with the 4630. 4430 would more than likely be there also. So you're basically looking at adding something, an 8000 series, like I said, 8285R or higher, and that is way down the list. So, but a sprayer, possible near future thing. So same with the bean planter, but bean planter not next year, probably 2 years. So, but I know I'm just going through all this because I know I get that pretty much asked this every at least 2 days, if not every day. So, all right. So, how much technology is too much? Well, that's a good question because I don't know. The 8530 has been down pretty much all year. Well, not all year. Majority of this year, pretty much every single thing that we've had to fix this year has been technology related, except for belts on the combine, which we actually have, well, knock on wood, have yet to do anything with a belt on the combine yet. So this fall. So, we were talking about this with our salesman, and we on the armrest on there in the command arm. So those of you that are familiar with the S series, on our combine, we've got the little GS3 and we've got our 2630 mounted up there. And the GS3 will freeze up every once in a while. At least what we're finding out is ever since I put the LED lights on, which the only reason I bring that up is just because that kind of now we found out ties into this. So this basically will go for anybody that is wanting to put LED lights on their combine, S-Series combine. This should give you guys a good informative thing on what happens when you do that. So the monitor was freezing up every once in a while, and sometimes it would actually lock the 2630 up and actually reboot it while you're going through the field. So in order to essentially fix that, you would stop, shut the combine off, literally have to go down and kill the power by shutting off or doing the battery disconnect and kicking the battery power back on and resetting that monitor, because the monitor, that little GS3, will not shut off for some reason at sometimes when it freezes, at least. And what we found was there was obviously a controller coming offline, and they did a DTEC solution on it. And John Deere's, at least what the tech told us, what he found from the DTEC was on a broad spectrum, it's in your turn signal module. Literally, what is causing this monitor to freeze is in the turn signal module on the steering column. Really. I mean, those of you that are familiar with isobus, this can affect this or this could affect that, those of you that are familiar with that. But it's, we ended up calling the AMS guy and diagnosing it further with him. And we were having issues with the rear beacon light. The rear beacon light actually went out, which reminds me that beacon light was supposed to be here today. I ordered that from Amazon. No, it did not come in. I thought that was going to come in today. It was supposed to. I never checked the delivery, but well, I'll have to check that later. But anyways, the rear beacon light kept coming up on a notification there saying, hey, the rear beacon light's not working. Well, the rear beacon light's working, so is there a sensor going bad? Well, on further examination, we did find out that the beacon light is bad. So we took that off, and you can't just do that, obviously. The computer is going to say, hey, your beacon light's not there. It's not working, obviously. So, the computer doesn't know it's not there. It's just going to keep saying it's not working. So Dad thought, well, if I move the front beacon light, one of the front ones on top of the cab there, to the back, will it magically say no? Well, it's just going to say, well, your front left one's not working. So now we've moved that problem to the front left beacon light, at least as far as the beacon lights go. So he's like, well, did you add LED beacon lights? Well, the combine, when we got it, did not have beacon lights. Don't ask me why, but the combine didn't have beacon lights on the front. They must have just took them off the mirror posts there. Don't know why. So I ordered from Shoop 2 LED beacon lights, which are exactly like they're the exact beacon lights, same ones that are on all the new S-Series combines. Made the neighbors talk because they all thought we had an S700, which in all reality, we had a 2012 S690. I don't care. It made the neighbors talk. So put those on. Didn't mess with the back one until now, which I'm waiting on Amazon, I guess, unless they brought it today, which they said it was supposed to be here today. A new LED beacon light for the back to replace that old halogen one. So he goes like, that will actually affect it if you didn't do the calibration. Well, I did the calibration because one, when you turned the combine on, when we got it, it kept saying you didn't have beacon lights there. So again, I don't know what the deal was, why we got it didn't have beacon lights. I don't know. It had the rear one, just didn't have the two front ones. No. So he goes like, that could affect what's going on. And then Dad brought up, he's like, well, we did just put LED lights on it. He's like, there's your problem. He's like, I just figured out what's going on. He's like, the computer is not adjusted, or like basically it's set to say, all right, all the lights on the combine are going to draw a total ampage of this. By putting LEDs on, obviously they draw a lot less power. The computer does not realize that and is saying, what the heck? Why is there not enough, why aren't all the lights or this control unit drawing more power than what it needs to be? That's the problem. Literally, it's the LED lights. So here's John Deere's D-Tech solution, at least for our serial number combine. Open up the turn signal, or open up the steering column, go to your turn signal mod wiring harness in there, find a green wire for, I think it was like pin 2, I think it's called. I don't know, it's on my phone. AMS guy texted it to me, picture of the D-Tech solution. And cut the green wire, tape it off on both ends, make sure it's not going to contact anything. Obviously use electrical tape on both ends, wrap it up, make sure it's not going to hit anything, close it all back up, and you're good to go. Don't ask me what the green wire is because it does not say. It just says cut the green wire. All right, we're going to cut the green wire, and that's going to fix our problem, hopefully. I don't know. In a future video, on a more serious note, we had injection. I can't even talk right now. Injector problems on the 8530. So we thought. The computer gave me a scare there. I'm putting along drilling rye. At that point, it would have been cover crop. I already finished the field that I was telling you guys about in one of the videos that we were going to drill rye in. And basically what I had left was just going across the road for cover crop. And I was probably about 5 rounds in on that. And all of a sudden I got what the neighbor calls the idiot light. It's a little, just the eye on there for information. Not the stop light, just the eye. Neighbor calls it the idiot light. So the idiot light kicks on. And I'm like, that's odd. I look. Engine error message down on the command arm center. What the heck? Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to stop. So, not the stop. Normally you're supposed to stop when, I don't know, the big stop or the light kicks on. I'm like, screw that. There's an engine light on. Let's check this out. So I stop and I'm just sitting there at idle. And I pull it up on my phone because manual doesn't tell you. So obviously I just went straight to my phone and Googled the PTI code. I look and I'm like, all right. So it's saying that there's a fuel injection error. All right. We're going up onto the ends and we're shutting the tractor off because we don't want to score a cylinder. It's like, no, thanks. So I called up John Deere and I said, hey, here's what's going on. What do you recommend we should do? Well, do you have a loss of power? Or are you seeing like a difference in performance? I'm like, well, I have a 330 horse tractor on a John Deere 750 20-foot grain drill. I don't think I'm going to see much difference in power or performance with 330 horse. He's like, well, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, no, I don't think so either. He's like, well, have you started it? I'm like, well, I haven't started it yet. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. You tell me, what do you think I should do? He's like, well, I think you should just keep running it. I'm like, oh, fuel injection error and you first recommend run it still. I think not. No. I'm like, is there a chance somebody could come out and take a look at it? I'm like, is there a faulty sensor or is there seriously an injector going bad? I don't know. Is the computer right? Is the computer wrong? What's going on? So he's like, well, I'll do some checking on my end. He's like, that's up to you. If you want to leave it set, that's fine. So in the meantime, hour and a half passed, and he's like, we were moving fields with the combine, and he called up Dad, and he's like, hey, I'm waiting on Keith. Dad's like, what are you waiting on Keith for? He's like, well, I'm waiting to see if that error message comes up again. And I'm like, I didn't know. So I go back, and because he never told me, I was waiting on his end to find out, what he could find. So I go back and I start the tractor. Nothing. No message, nothing. So I click it off on manual mode instead of auto mode for the IVT and rev it up to about 1600 RPM and let it sit there for 2 minutes. And I'm like, still no message. Kick it back down in the auto, whatever, idle at like, say, 1,000, 1,100, nothing. What, how could it magically just go away? If there's an injecting problem, I can't even say it, injector problem, that doesn't magically just go away. What's going on? So I call up the salesman, I call up the service guy, and I'm like, hey, it's gone. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, he's like, I guess, I can't do anything for you now. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going on. He's like, well, with no code, he's like, there's nothing I can do. I'm like, well, I guess I'll run. So I call up Dad, and I'm like, well, what do you think? He's like, well, like the guy said, there's really nothing we can, or what he can do. So I guess go ahead and run. Been running fine ever since. No code, nothing. I don't know. I don't know if it was a hiccup in the computer or something seriously going wrong that we don't know about. Like the AMS guy told me, because I talked to the AMS guy about it when I was talking to him about the combine. He's like, usually when I see those codes come up, those codes are right. He's like, usually though, those codes don't go away like that did. That was shortly after we redid, or that I reinstalled or installed the ACU and had that reprogrammed. So I don't know if it was like what we're saying, it was just like a hiccup in the computer system or what, but scary stuff there. I mean, I don't know. So favorite brand of tractor tires, Michelin. We use primarily Firestone just because it's cheaper. And because I would say our favorite brand there is all-time Firestone, but if we had to pick Firestone or Michelin and they were the same price, Michelin, but obviously Firestone and Michelin are by far not the same price, and Michelin are, but you're getting a better tire, but you're getting what you pay for, I guess, but it comes out a crazy premium, Michelin's do. So we don't like Goodyears. Hence the name, good for a year, but nobody take offense to that. That's just what we've experienced in all of our times. So what combine did you have before the S680? Correction, we have an S690. Yeah, a lot of you guys don't know that, but it is an S690. It's not a decal change or nothing. This is a legit S690. So we ran a 2001 9650. Before that would have been a 8820, and before that it was a 6600 gas. Both of those I don't know the year on offhand. So were you able to get the 8530 to stop throwing codes at you? Oh geez. Yeah, so there's going to be a couple videos on that, the injector problem, the parking brake lever. So the IVT module, we had to get that replaced, which I'll talk about in a future video. Well, that should be coming out later this week, actually. So yesterday's and today's video, I told you guys I was going to release those. I'm still waiting on YouTube to process them. Don't ask me why it's taken so long to process them, but it should be out. One of them should be out tomorrow, and then I'm just going to schedule the other one for Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday videos. Promise. So do you guys ever plan on getting an RT? We ran a 9400T, and the only reason why we had a 9400T was because of strip tilling, which I've talked to you guys about multiple times in past streams. As of right now, no, not a 2-track. If we were ever to do something with tracks on the tractor, it'd be a quad track, a 4-tracked machine, not a quad track specifically, but something with 4 tracks or tracks on the rear, like a row track type unit. So, but John Deere does not make a row track unit as of now. Case does, but I'm not going to buy a Case tractor. No harsh feelings there, unless I get my mind somehow changed there. So if Bain Welker wants to change my mind, I guess they should bring out a tractor and have me try one out. But as of right now, I'm not changing. But so, but yeah, like what Mark just said there in that comment right there, an RX would be better than that. Yeah, that that's what we would go towards if we were considering something on tracks and not $500,000. Yeah, I'm not spending $500,000 on a tractor. I could wait about 10 years, and depreciation in today's economy, I could buy one for probably $120,000. Yeah, Dan, you're gonna. I just saw your comment, Dan, on the Big Blue sprayer. Yeah, you're gonna have to beat Matt Gilsinger now. Matt's on the hunt. Matt's got something really, like, he's got a hankering now. So you know how Matt gets when he gets a hankering there. So you're gonna have to beat him to it. I didn't realize we're gonna be doing. Well, I didn't say we're gonna be doing anything. It's still. Like I said, I didn't say we were doing anything this year. Well, this year or in the next year. It's all on price, really. And I don't know. I guess we're going to be getting numbers. Matt said he wanted to bring out numbers. I thought he said this week. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't around. I thought Dad said he was half paying attention because he was more just concentrating on what he needed to get done there in the combine, because it was getting to that point where it's like the elevator was closing. He had to figure out, okay, where's the dry corn? Where's the wet corn? So we can blend this and do that. It was one of those things. But he was paying attention a little bit with the sprayers, because that's exactly what he steered the conversation towards sprayers. Not Matt, it was Dad. So I don't know. So that yeah, like I said, I wasn't there, so this is all what Dad's telling me that they talked about. So I had a really crappy yield with 1197 AMXT in Iowa. I think that the hybrid number does not. So 1197 AMXT. I can tell you right now, we don't run any triple stacks here, at least in our vicinity, just because we don't have a root worm problem like what some of you guys do. So we all run doubles, so AMs. We don't run AMXT or Chrome varieties. 1197 drought tolerance. Yeah, drought tolerance is pretty low. If you're looking for something that's like 1197 but has drought tolerance, 1077. 1077 is literally 1197 but with good drought tolerance. I can tell you for a fact that it does great. If you watch some of my videos, you've seen 1077 perform, and this is on pure blow sand, what we call blow sand, which is way worse than probably most of your guys' sands that any of you guys are on here. So unless, what would probably be worse than our sands, I would say, is right in central Illinois. There's a spot that we went through that our agronomists have been telling us about for a long time, that there's a spot worse than you guys. And we're like, really? He's like, yeah, central Illinois. We're like, really? Central Illinois? He's like, yeah. We're like in the middle of 3-foot topsoil country. He's like, oh yeah. So when we went out to Yetter to go get the head cart, we ended up driving through that area. Yeah, they don't even farm the dry corners out there. Literally, like, they don't even put alfalfa on them. It's that bad. It's like, oh, that spot. Yeah, we found that spot. So, but yeah, we don't have any experience with AMXT, so triples. We all run double stack, and like I said, 1197 for drought tolerance doesn't have very good drought tolerance. So if that's what happened to you, and that's what happened with the yield there that you're contributing that to, look at 1077. So if you're wanting the same performance that 1197 will put out. So well, that's our plan 6-4. As far as that goes, we're not going to make it so that the next guy that gets this combine after us, is kind of like, well, what the heck? I would have, for some reason, that guy would want to put halogen lights instead of LED lights. But if somebody wants to restore an S690, it's kind of hard to believe that I'm even saying that phrase right now, restore an S690. But someday, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, somebody finds this combine and says, by God, I want to put the original factory lights on this thing because I'm restoring it. All right. Yeah. It's all ready to go. We didn't do like a big old hack in there as far as, messing up the wires and stuff like that. But, as far as restoring something like, well, I'm pointing to it on my desk. I got a replica. I got the either one of 1,000, 5,000, or 500, whatever, die cast, all one, I think it's 130, 1/16th, I think, 1/16th S780 on here. The die cast one. So the one that costs $1,000, yeah, I got that on eBay for 800. So, but yeah. But back to the restoring thing, I can't believe I even said that phrase as far as, somebody wanting to restore an S-Series combine. But, think about it, 30, 40 years from now, that's what's going to happen. Y'all should get an 8410 RX, so spend $650,000. Yeah, I can't do that, no. On the software standpoint of things, we thought it was something that they just needed to come out and reprogram instead of, cutting a wire. I mean, we didn't know. I mean, this is coming straight from the AMS guy that found straight from John Deere's D-Tech solution. So that's coming straight from John Deere's engineers. So I don't know. All right, I don't know why the comments are jumping around. I scroll up and it takes me clear down, so I'm trying to find where I left off on the comments here. Am I related to Bill and Hannah? So Bill is actually our cousin. If that's the Bill you're talking about there in Hannah, yeah, that's my cousin. Well, technically Dad's cousin, so technically it'd be my third cousin? Second cousin, I don't know what, but we're cousins, yes. Yeah. Did you get the Milwaukee Impact yet? So honestly, Ryan, I did not get a message on that, so I don't know. Well, put it this way, I don't even check my P.O. box unless the mail lady's yelling at Grandma, because Grandma comes up there, and Grandma's good friends with the post office lady up there, and Grandma goes up there and gets the mail for, I think, the pantry or the church. And when she goes up there, if I have something in my P.O. box, which literally was spam mail, it was something for one card was for dentistry, and the other card was like a furniture sale flyer. And she was cussing mad that I didn't go up there and go to my P.O. box. And I'm like, it's spam mail. It's flat out junk mail. Why do I need to go check my P.O. box for that? It's I didn't know a P.O. box could get that. All right, it's well. So I don't know. That just goes to show that I don't get too much from you guys as far as the PO box goes. But if you guys do want to send me something, the PO box is down below, so I don't care. You can send me junk mail if you want. I don't care. Like I said, I don't hardly check it, but the only times I check it is when Grandma goes up there and the post office lady's cussing mad that I don't get up there and check it more often. It's just like I don't get nothing, so it's like I don't check it unless I don't know you're upset and saying, "By God, get up here and check it." It's like, all right. I did not vote yet. I plan on voting Tuesday. So, and no, I'm not going to get in politics here, but that's as far as I'm going to take it. So, that's another thing we were talking about, David. If it could have been just like a hair bit of water or intermittent pressure, like what you were saying, you know, like I said, it's scary because it's just like you don't know, and you don't know if the sensor just went bad or if the sensor is, you don't know. There's a number of things, so it's like you don't know. Manitou, Illinois. As far as what you were saying, as far as where I was referring to in central Illinois about the sands. Give me a second here and I can tell you. I think that sounds about right just from the towns that our agronomist tells us. It's right by a river there in central Illinois. I know all you guys in Illinois are probably thinking, really? But yeah, that looks about right. There, just, yep. Yep, that's about right. Yeah, that's actually right where did we go through there? Just trying to find where Macomb or Macomb. I can't even. I pronounce this one all the. Yeah, it's Macomb, not Macomb. I think Macomb or Macomb. I don't know. All you guys in Illinois are probably laughing at me about that, but we took 136 across through Havana and down just south of Acre and Topeka. So north of Popular, or is that Popular? Poplar. I thought that's a Popular, Poplar City, and kind of by Duncan Mills area and stuff like that. So that's the area that basically they were talking about. So yeah, looking on the map, yeah, that would Manitou, I think it was, or Manatee. I don't know. Some of these Illinois names are, I don't know. I probably butchered that pretty bad there, but Manitou, Manito, I don't know. But yeah, that looks about right considering there's a boatload of pivots there, it looks like. Forest City. That's one that our agronomist was telling us about, Forest City also. Goofy Ridge, Liverpool, Little America. That's a Little America? What the heck? Like Dad said, why does Illinois get all the cool names and Indiana gets like Wanata, Logansport, Hannah? You guys get cool ones like like what Dad said. He's like, oh, they get all the cool ones like Galesburg, Knoxville, Galva, Wyoming, Woodhull. I'm just looking on the Google map here, guys. I don't know these towns. Pawpaw. I don't know. Yeah. You guys should demo the X9. Tell that to our John Deere dealer. They don't even have one, actually. As far as I know right now. There was talk that they were going to be getting one, but do you like the S690? No, I honest to God wish we had the 6600 gas right now. No, I'm just kidding. The S690 is awesome. Absolutely love it. We'll never go back to an 8-row. Always going to stay 12-row from here on out. 12-row is just, it's awesome. It just awesome. S690, just flat out beast. I know a lot of you guys were messaging me saying, "Oh, you don't want a 12 because you're going to have all these issues." Yes and no. We're computer issues. That's the only thing. And it's just like, "Oh my god." How far am I from? Hold on. Butte, Illinois. How far am I from there? East Dubuque. Computer's just a hair bit slow tonight. 4 hours and 25 minutes by Google Maps. Yeah, so basically what they were telling us, basically all that river bottom sand, it's pretty much just like your ground, if not worse. And I'm like, really? Illinois ground? Well, Dad and I found out when we drove through there. It's pretty rough through there. It looks just like home, put it that way, with all the pivots. So what's my opinion on government subsidies? I believe they have their place. My opinion on government subsidies, more so my opinion on crop insurance. My opinion on crop insurance shouldn't exist. But I feel subsidies have their place, though. And that's as far as I'm going to go. But as far as my opinion on crop insurance, I feel crop insurance shouldn't exist. But have I ever tried ridging a field? So elaborate on ridging, because there's I mean, do you mean purposely ridging, like, say, strip till? Like, as far as strip tilling on those kinds of ridging? Or are you talking about, ridges where you could actually cause easily with a disc? Or okay, so strip tilling. We've done strip tilling, yes. And that, from our experience with strip tilling, now you got... in short terms, we've done it. We did not have a good experience with it. We've since moved on from that. If you want to hear the full story on that, check out any one of my previous streams and probably watch about halfway in. Then the strip till talk will come about again, because it seems like every one of these streams somebody asks about it. And not being harsh on you or anything, or not singling you out. Like I said, just about every stream somebody asks about it. And I know a lot of you guys probably wonder, have we done it? But we've done it, and it doesn't work. So, but yeah, I mean, for what we tried doing with it, we didn't band any dry. But, if you want to hear the whole elaborated story on that, check out one of my other streams. I think I talked about it for like, I want to say an hour and a half almost, but and it was strip cat, because some of you guys were asking me about what the strip till unit actually was. It's strip cat it's a strip till unit from strip cat. As far as the shanks we were using, we tried out mole knives. Mole knives didn't work, so we actually were running just straight anhydrous knives. The shank itself, the setup was designed to go, I think, 8 inches deep, I want to say. 6 to 8 inches, I think. It was quite it was on I can't remember the steel beam that was on the toolbar, but it was a crazy toolbar. Part of the reason why we sat on it for so long, trying to sell it, it was mounted on an Elk Creek caddy, and we actually sheared the pins, I want to say 3 times. 3 different times we sheared the pins, and we were actually using, I think, 2.5 inch. We sheared 2.5 inch hitch pins that we put in there 2 times. First time we were just using the standard pin, but then we went to either Bain Welker or Michelin Shopples and got either 2.5 or 3-inch hitch pins, and we sheared those twice. And we went to the local. The guy doesn't farm, but he has a machine shop, or owns a machine shop, or owned one, I should say. And he goes like, I got this steel, and he's like, I can make you a pin exactly what you need, and he's like, I guarantee you, no way in the world you're gonna break it. And I can't remember what the analysis was on this steel, but put it this way, we never sheared the pin ever again at that point. He made us these 2 pins, and it was like, wow. I can't offhand, I can't remember because it was like 8 years ago, but all I can say is I guarantee you the next owner that currently has it right now is not going to break those pins. So, but it was some crazy analysis of steel that those pins are made out of that he made. So. I prefer not to get into like the government talk as far as crop insurance and subsidies and stuff like that because, I say one bad thing. I mean, I'm not singling out you, John. I just know where this is going to go as far as crop insurance goes and stuff like that. I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, I just feel crop insurance shouldn't exist, and I have my reasons why. And I hate to have the crop insurance talk come up now, especially with the derecho that happened and stuff. But, even though the derecho happened back in August, I mean, I don't know, we got affected by it too. I mean, it was 25 acres out of that 60 acre, at least 25 acres. Yield map up and go off of the yield map. It's probably more than that. But, I'm just going to leave it at that. My opinion on it, I just feel it shouldn't exist. And subsidies, as far as I can say on that, I feel they have their place, put it that way. So do I agree with the CFAP? Yes and no. So, and that's, like I said, I'm just going to leave it at that because, there's both positive and negative comments about it, and I just don't want to open up a big can of worms and try stuffing them all back in the can. Put it that way. 20 years old. I'm going to be 21 in January 6th to be exact. So if any of you guys want to write that down, because I know some of you guys are kind of weird about that, but I don't care. I don't care what you guys know on that. Holy cow. Snapchat is blowing up right now. So by the way, if any of you guys want my Snapchat, and we're going to run this stream at least right now until around 10 o'clock, unless this gets really wild. Like sometimes on Sunday nights, it gets kind of wild. For those of you that have been in a live stream, it seems to go a lot later than what I say, or sometimes it just takes off around 10 o'clock. But yeah, there's my Snapchat. Same thing with Instagram. You just add the @ in front of it. There's my Insta. So. So, would you stick to Deere with a sprayer? So elaborate on stick to Deere, because John Deere now technically is partnered or partially owns part of Hagie. So, are you roping Hagie under Deere, or are you considering Hagie as a separate entity, or I guess you should say a separate brand at that point? Do I collect John Deere diecast? Dad has a much larger collection than what I do. There's really no reason for me to buy the Precision series, like the original Precision series or the Precision Elite, because just with Father's, all the colored ones, all the silver ones, the European ones, the hat, the magnets, the watch, literally all the 100-year memorabilia that was out, I've got. Even our John Deere salesman was like, "Where'd you get that?" Like he's pointing at some of the stuff. He's like, I can't even find that." He's like, I'm like, eBay. Everything's on eBay. So that's kind of the stuff I'm collecting. I'm not necessarily focusing on the series right now just because we pretty much have everything as far as series go. I mean, we got the Precision Elite series, we've got the Precision series, we've got the Key series, we've got the original Precision series. We've got all the combines. It's a pretty impressive collection, put it that way. I don't know if I'll ever do a video on it, but it's a really, really impressive collection. And like I said, the majority of it's dad's. And like what I was saying, I'm just collecting, like the 100-year stuff, the die-cast combine that they just came out with, and I don't know, whatever I feel I want to buy in the future. But yeah. Who has the nicest trucks you've seen when you're besides Abbott's? Logan. All right. Nicest truck at Malden. Yeah. Nicest truck at Malden. I can't believe we're doing this right now. I got to think on that one, Logan. I seriously got to think on that. I don't even know what you drive, so I don't, I don't know. Let me think on that. I second that, Dan. I know he needs to get on here. I was telling him about it the other night because I guess one of the neighbors was on here, and we were at the neighbors one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I was on Keith's live stream, and I can't believe how many views he was getting." It was on that one stream that we got talking about the grain markets, and it shot up to I think like 600 and some people on here. And Dad's just like, "Wait, what the heck do you do?" And I was telling him, he's just like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I'm like, "Yeah, they want you on there one of these days." And he's just like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." So someday, but it's one of those things, just keep kicking the can down the road. So how far are you from Michigan City? I'm still thinking on it, Logan. You got to tell me what truck you drive. I don't know what truck you drive. There's so many Griegers over there in Porter County. I don't know who's driving what over there. How about this? I like the guy that pulls in with the wagons with the 4430 or 4630. That's awesome. I love seeing that. I love seeing either that 4430 or that 4630 over there, Logan. That is awesome. I love that. Better than all the semis there. I don't care. That's awesome to watch. With the DMI wagons, that's cool. I love that. I mean, we used to pull wagons to the elevator. Not in my lifetime, but we used to. So how far am I from Michigan City? I would say about half hour, 40 minutes. Half hour. Would you consider to buy, or what? Ugh. Oh, okay. So it would, all right. So it like double put what, I don't know. But anyways, would you consider buying a Peterbilt? Yeah, Peterbilt. Well, I don't know why I said Peter like that, but Peterbilt. Yeah. Fun fact, that's actually something we're kicking around the idea of, is adding a third semi. So like a 579 Pete or a 389. I think Abbott's run, what do they run, Logan? I can't remember. It's I don't know, but whatever Abbott's run over there, holy cow, they're sharp. Probably like a 389, I think. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Either like a 579, probably a 3. I don't know. 379, 389, 579, or a T800 or T880 from Kenworth. So just something we're kicking the idea around. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying we're doing anything. I'm just saying, it's just something that, we're kicking the idea around because it would be nice to have a third semi. Dude, they're 370. If they're so they are 379s. All right, so yeah, they're 379s. They roll in, and it's just like, yeah. The one that's blue with the pewter metallic hopper from Timty. I think they run Timties, right? Dude, holy cow! Wow, that is awesome. That truck. The truck and the hopper. I mean, they roll in. It's just like, whoa. but besides dude, that's hard. I mean, I don't I don't know. I don't want to step on anybody's toes there, Logan, and say, oh, their truck's better than I don't know. Like I said, the guy that pulls in with the 4430 or 4630, I can't remember which it is, but yeah, that guy. That's my favorite truck that rolls into Malden. My favorite YouTube channel, I like them all. Again, John, I don't want to step on anybody's or make anybody upset there. I like them all. They're awesome. And I don't want to try naming them all that I watch because then I'm going to end up forgetting one like I do sometimes in the streams, and they're going to say, well, why don't you name this one? Or why don't you name that one? Well, I'm sorry, I forgot that one. There's so many of us now. So what kind of drone do I have? I have one now. So I talked about it in, I think, the last stream that I lost the Mavic. So I did have a Mavic 2 Pro. That was actually the drone I bought a year ago. It wasn't even a year old. Gosh darn it, that really annoys me. It would have been a year old around Thanksgiving because I bought it around Black Friday, I think. Yeah, Black Friday, because it was a good deal around Black Friday, obviously. But the other drone I have is a DJI Fan 4 Pro with 12 batteries, believe it or not. So literally right there. So yeah. Oh, so 389 is the new 379. All right. That just goes to show how close I follow Peterbilt. So like I said, probably then 389 or 579, probably more towards a 579 day cab. So you should buy a 9250 Case IH combine for your next combine. No experience whatsoever with a Case combine, so if somebody wants to sell us a Case combine, they're going to have to demo it to us. So let us try it out because, like I said, zero experience with a Case combine or anything newer Case. So sometimes, like when I got to move the neighbor's tractor or well, I haven't moved his combine, but I've had to move his tractor before. I get in his tractor and I'm like, I thank God every day I've got an IVT instead of a CVT. Just scrolling through the comments here, making sure I didn't miss anybody. That big blue sprayer comment, that is hilarious, Dan. Dan, if you're still in here, like I said, you're still in the game. I guess there's really nothing for you to use. Like, we can't really use this. Dan, if you're still in here, we can't use a sprayer. I mean, there's really not anything. We can't really do nothing. There's really no spraying to be done. I mean, we don't do any fall spraying. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to consider that. I don't know. I don't know if I like Miller sprayers. If you watch my Snapchat, I don't know if I like the Miller sprayers. So, and I heard New Holland is basically like a Miller sprayer, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Do you like the international trucks? They're all right. I wouldn't buy one. I personally won't own one though. Do I want a new bin setup? Now, do you mean by like if I had the option, money wasn't an object at all, level this, redo it? Or do you mean just by like adding another bin and expanding off of our current setup? How close am I to Goshen? And do I ever go to Polk auctions? So I have not been personally to Polk's, one of Polk's auctions. New Paris, been there multiple times, been through the auction lot, have not, like I said, been to his auction. It's like for me, I mean, actually the planter, Dad and Grandpa picked the planter, the 16 rail planter up. I believe it. I want to say, I think it was Polk's auction. I think, if I remember right, I think if I remember that whole story correct. Again, you know, this is why, like what Dan just said. Dan, again, I agree. Dad needs to be on here also. If I remember the story right, I'm pretty sure the planter came from Polk's, and we placed like I think 2 bids on it, kind of similar how we got the combine, but that's a pretty good idea, David. So, but yeah, back to how close I am to Goshen. I don't know. I mean, I would say about an hour and 20 minutes by the crow flies. But yeah, but like I said, I've not been to Polk's auction, but I've been to like New Paris tractor there. Been through New Paris multiple times. Actually went to Milford and hauled grain right there to Cargill, which, by the way, those of you that are around that facility and have not been to that facility, high class. Best elevator I've been to yet. In and out, less than 10 minutes. I even timed it. I was actually, speed limit probably from the scale to the dump is probably 15 mile an hour, and I was right there at 15 mile an hour. You dump, there's another scale outbound, and it's all contactless. There's a hang tag. Love the hang tag setup. I wish all elevators would go to that also. I mean, a hang tag setup like that would be slick. So cool. But I think when I timed it, I started right when I untarped and got in the truck. And when I grabbed the ticket, that's when I clicked the timer off, and it was like 9 minutes and 22 seconds. And they were bragging when they first put in that facility that you could be in and out of there in less than 10 minutes. And yeah, it's slick. And that was with like 2 or 3 trucks in front of me. It's slick. I love that facility. That is the best facility I've been to yet. And I wish there was more closer, because that's a good hour and 40 minutes over the, well, with the semi, it's about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. Driving, I mean, I would say about an hour and 20. So Billy, so do you mean by like everything as far as like what I just said, as far as if money wasn't an object, level the setup, start anew, money wasn't an object, rebuild it from there, right? Or are you talking add a bin, replace the dryer? What would you want to do in the future with it? Is that what you mean by that? I mean, tell me what you mean, or what you want me to answer there. How do farmers improve their soils with microbes? So, that question, we do a lot of spoon feeding in our soil. So basically, we add micronutrients to the soil, either through, well, we really don't do any micronutrients through the fertigation at all. It was more macronutrients, so like NP and K, such as, well, we don't do any P through there. We don't do any, well, we do 2004, which does have a little bit of potash in it, but primarily nitrogen. We do a lot of we're going to start doing a lot more micronutrients with the side dress applicator now. We do a whole cocktail mix in our in-furrow. We're going to be doing more with foliars, definitely, which have a lot of micronutrients. So basically, it's a lot of foliar and in-furrow applications, and also I can't really say it's in-furrow with the side dress applicator because the Y drops, which those of you that don't know what I'm talking about by Y drops, go check out my side dressing videos and you'll understand what I mean by Y drops, by them dribbling fertilizer right on top of the ground at the base of the plant, which I 110% attest that those do a awesome job. I love the Y drops. So would you recommend RTK over SF3 for the price difference? I am setting up my 6,000. So it all depends on what you're doing. First year we ran SF1 back in 2007 or 8 when we first got auto steer, and we realized our pass per pass accuracy with SF1, I think drift on that is what? I want to say SF1 is drift on either 6 or 10 inch. I don't know. I think might be different now with the different satellites now, because it used to just pull off of GPS, and now that GLONASS is part of it, which is the Russian satellite, it's gotten a lot more accurate across all levels, SF1 to SF3 and RTK. So it used to just be SF1 and SF2, but now since they changed SF2 to SF3, yeah. So, but anyways, it just all depends. I mean, if you're just primarily doing tillage with it, you don't even need you could just run SF1 if you wanted to. So, but if you're planning and you plan on doing like a lot of stuff like what we're doing as far as like side dressing or considering doing tram lines or spraying or stuff like that, I mean, yeah, RTK. I mean, when we bought our first RTK or first auto steer system, like I said, we started off with SF1 just because we didn't know. And yeah, for planning, yeah, RTK, I would highly recommend it, because then you could dial in your pass per pass so much better, and you can run a 12 row with say 16 row like what we do, or an 8 row with a 12 row planter. You know, it works great. So, but anyways, when we got our first auto steer system, you know, like I told you, we didn't know, and then that's when the year later we went to RTK, and when I bought the second auto steer setup for the 8530, I told the salesman RTK, complete setup, Starfire 6000, RTK, you know, I don't care, not even around with it, I'm just going to put RTK on it right now, because it's just like, I knew eventually we were going to get a bean planter. Now, is beans really that crucial that you're going to need RTK guidance so much as like what corn does? To a point, no. But if you're going to be side dressing them, yes. Now, at that time, did I know we were going to be side dressing beans? No, I did not know we were going to be side dressing beans. So, SF3 is repeatable for the year, but if you're going to be coming back in and like say side dressing, I would highly recommend RTK. I mean, I would definitely spend the money. So trust me, we've been there. We did the stair step process, SF1 to SF3, then to RTK. Well, at the time it was SF2, but we did the stair step process, and I wouldn't even bat an eye about RTK anymore. I mean, even our third system someday will be RTK, and probably our fourth system, if we end up, eventually we'll run 4. So, I mean, it's a toss up for you. I mean, if it's a sub, I know it's sub inch. It's completely just had a brain fart here, but yeah, sub 1.5 there. Yeah, I mean, you can get away with SF3 or SF. well, what was SF2 and now SF3. I guess it's up to you, but like I said, I would highly recommend just jumping right into RTK. So, yeah. I mean, if the dealer recommends SF3, I mean, go by what your dealer says. I mean, I don't know. Maybe your dealer's RTK network, which I highly doubt it, but maybe your dealer's RTK network isn't as reliable as others. I don't know. See, the thing is with us, we're kind of on the outskirts of our dealer's network, and we can kind of almost jump on Castonia's network if we wanted to, if we knew the tower code for Malden, which we don't. But if any of you guys on here that are on Castonia's network want to give me the tower code, hey, I'd appreciate it. Not on here, but if you want to slip me that on like Instagram DM or Snapchat, hey, that's fine. So when we're over there on custom work, sometimes it'd be nice to have Malden's tower. So I don't know, just an FYI. So, but yeah, I mean that's my thought. Annual pay for the RTK, I don't know. There's a flyer lane for it somewhere over there in the middle of the office, so I would have to go check. But yeah, I think I want to say it's right around 1,000. I want to say, I believe, I think so. Hey, Brian, I appreciate you tuning in. So, do you miss the 9400T and the 9650? To a point, yes. To a point, no. So, I've talked about this before in previous streams, actually in depth. And if you want to check those out, go check out previous streams. I hate to say that to you, but yeah, I mean, to a point, yes. There's some stuff on there that I miss and some simplicity, but to a point, no, because there is a time to upgrade. So, hey, Ryan, how's it going? So, I don't know what happened there with Billy. I was kind of hoping to kind of go off on that on the grain setup because that was actually a pretty good question. I don't know where he was going with it. Just kind of going back through the comments here. So I guess we're going to go ahead and quit this at 10 o'clock. So some of you, that may be 11 o'clock. Sounds like Axel's active. Axel's a dog, the new puppy. So I guess if any of you guys got any more questions on anything for me, I guess shoot them at me here in the next 20 minutes, and I'll do my best to answer them then. So how many RT? So just, I would say, so we got an ITC globe on the sprayer. Now I understand ITC is going away as far as the support. The network itself is still going to be active to my knowledge, but as far as using an ITC globe for auto track purposes, you cannot do anymore. That's my understanding as of right now. So we've got one ITC globe. We've got one Starfire 3000 with RTK subscription. Starfire 6000 with RTK subscription. Two 2630s with RTK and auto track, and that's it. I didn't put section control on mine for the side dress applicator because there's really no reason for it as of right now. I don't really see a reason for it in the future, especially with it just having two shutoffs. I don't understand why I can't just run those on manual like I did this year. A lot cheaper. Third, we would, if we were to buy a sprayer, we would get a third setup. Why? Because, well, the 46, so the setup that's in the 8530 is just going to stay in the 8530, not because I bought it and I'm saying it's going to stay in the 8530. Really, there's no reason to move it for anything, for any purpose or anything. I mean, it's just going to stay in the 8530. The 4650 setup, that kind of hops between the combine and the tractor. So, like it always did between the combine and the point, back when we had the 9650, even because we took the ATU unit out of the 4650 and moved it into the combine. So, really, the ATU unit now just stays in the 4650 because the S690, you don't even need an ATU unit. It's already integrated for auto steer. So all you got to do is just do a plug and play there with the monitor and the globe. So the oh, Eric, if you're trying to do a super chat, you got to click the dollar thing, and then you do. I think it's either you do a super. Yeah, you click and you click the dollar sign and click super chat, and then I guess if that's what you're wanting to do, which I really appreciate it, put it that way, I really appreciate it, Eric, if that's what you're trying to do. So but yeah, so we would end up getting a third setup for the sprayer just to keep in the sprayer then. And yeah, and I think like on the R series sprayers, I want to say at least the one that we're looking at now, at least the dealer threw out to us, the salesman did. That's at the dealer. It has a 2630 built into the command arm. So really, all we would need to do is buy a globe and buy RTK activation and auto track activation. So because it comes with no activations, of course, but I would imagine that monitor probably has around, I don't know how well, I'd prefer not to say the hours right now, just because I know some of you guys are going to start hunting for R series sprayers thinking, well, I know their dealer, I know how many hours, this is what they're looking at, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to throw anything out there right now, but I know it's got enough hours on it that the screen has the bubbles in it. Now, I know that can easily be fixed. All I got to do is just pop that monitor off and send it down to Ag Express, and Ag Express will fix me right up with a new screen in there. So, there's a car. Now that the corn's picked around the farm, I can see all the traffic now on front of the farm here. So, Troy, check out the video on the... What was the title of that? It was one of my most recent previous videos here on the beans, but they did run really well. The side dressing did pay off. It'd be the Van Halen farm truck and beans pay. So, but if you want to know more information on them, I would highly recommend checking out that video. And if any of you guys want to learn more about the TV show that we're going to be on, potentially on, I know it's going to be on cable, but I think it's potentially going to be on Discovery Channel. But you didn't hear it from me. You guys can go check out. We're going to be on a TV show video. So it's an R4030 or R4038. So all I can say is that it's got 120-foot booms. And like I said, we're not buying it. We're just considering options right now. So all right, so I was just trying to figure out which comment I should answer here first. So how long have you guys been side dressing? That's a good question for Dad. Probably, I want to say I know we got the anhydrous applicator back in the 90s. As far as what year that applicator is, Dad doesn't even know because I was asking him about that when I was listing it. Were we side dressing before that? I imagine we might have been. Like I said, that's a good question for Dad or Grandpa as far as that goes. But at least 25 years. So, are you a Ford guy? Yep. Basically, every single vehicle on here is a Ford except my sister's. My sister's is a Volkswagen Jetta, and the only reason why she got a Volkswagen Jetta is because Mom drove a Volkswagen Jetta there for a little while, and she really liked it and said, "Hey, that's what I want for my first car." So that's what she got. So I've got a Ford F-150 2013. Reason why it's a Texas edition, because it's actually from Texas. Went down to Houston, bought it with 8,600 miles, and yeah, so it's Texas edition. Actually was made at the Houston plant down there, and yeah, bought it from Texas Direct Autos. Highly recommend that place. We actually got Grandpa's truck there also, and that was the year before mine. And his is a 2014 F-150 Lariat. Mine's an XLT, and I personally like the XLT over the Lariat, at least in the F-150s. Super Duties doesn't really matter to me. XLT or Lariat doesn't matter. Limited's pretty nice, or Platinum, but is that like you need that for a farm truck? No. You're just spending boatload more money just to have features that you don't even necessarily use. So it's more just amenities that you're just saying that, oh, hey, I have, but you don't use. So yeah, so Dad has a 2000 F350, and so I know you guys are going to ask on engines. 5.0 Coyote for mine and Grandpa's. I there put it this way, you can tell there's a definite difference between mine and Grandpa's. I know there's obviously a year difference there, and they did change a few things on the 14 versus 13, but the weight difference between mine obviously being a four-wheel drive versus his just being a two-wheel drive only, it's crazy. I've drove his before, and I know it's practically identical, like I said, except his is a Lariat. I will take mine any day over his just because of how it drives, just with that added weight with the four-wheel drive option on it. Holy cow. The way it drives is just night and day compared to his. Dad says the exact same thing about it when he gets in mine. He's just like, dude, I don't know what it is, but your truck just drives way better than that 14. I'm like, yeah, I know. But yeah, his is 2002 F350 dually. A lot of you guys have asked about that in the videos. Yes, it does have over 300,000 miles on it. He got it, I think, with 130 range, I think, 130,000, I think. So he's put some miles on it. 7.3 in that, yes. And we've got a 2011 that we bought brand new. Dad spec'd it out, F450. That we've got a 12-foot long Alumaline bed, and the Alumaline bed came directly from Alumaline in Iowa, right there, practically right there at the border, up north, and in Attica, Iowa, I believe it is. I want to say in a small little town, I believe. I want to say that's, I think, right? Yeah, Highway 5 sounds about. No. Not Attica. What the heck am I thinking? That's clear down south by Des Moines. I could tell you guys here in a second. Oh, right here. Cresco. That's a town I'm thinking of. Why in the world did I forget Cresco? It's not Attica. It's Cresco. Yeah. Yeah, we bought that in 2011, brand new, and it's only got like 60-some thousand miles on it. Only reform truck. So that's why it doesn't get very many miles on it. So my truck doesn't get very many miles on it either, just because I don't drive it too much in the summer just because I'm always running around checking pivots and doing all that. And plus, it's easier to get back to the pivot point where majority, like I would say about 80, well, majority of where I got to go check pivots, I'm not taking my truck. I mean, I can get my truck to it, but then I'm getting on foot to go to the spot that I need to get where I can just get on the four-wheeler and go all the way there instead of getting on foot. So I just drive the four-wheeler primarily in the summer, so that's why my truck doesn't get that many miles on it. So I think I only got I don't even think I've got 60,000. I think it's only got like 54,000 on it. So, but then we've got a couple Ford Explorers, and yeah, so all Ford except my sister. She's a little rebel. Got the Volkswagen, which funny story on that. She wanted me to change the oil in it. We do all the oil changes here. We don't take them anywhere except my grandma takes her Explorer over to the dealership and gets that done. But she won't let us touch it. That's fine. So my sister goes like, "Hey, I need my oil changed." All right. Well, the oil light's been on for how long? Well, the oil change light's been on for about a month. Really? All right. Well, let's get it changed. All right. My God. So we get it in there. I get it up on. She's like, well, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna have you drive on this 2x4 to get it up on this 6x6. Just let's stair step it up, get it up there, because you can't get a four jack under it. It sits so low to the ground, you can't even get a four jack under it. It's like, what in the world? How are we supposed to work on this thing?" So I get it up on blocks. I'm looking and I'm like, "Where's the oil drain plug?" I'm serious. You can't even find it. Like, it's sealed under. You can't even find it. I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, "Where's the manual?" Like, literally, it's not this hard. Manual doesn't even hardly tell you. Like, it's so broad on the manual, you're like, this doesn't tell me anything. So I finally, after a couple YouTube videos later, I figure out how to do it. Literally, I mean, I hate to say it, but the manual wouldn't even tell you, and you can't. It's completely sealed under on the bottom. I had to literally take a panel off underneath to get to find the oil pan underneath there. Literally, finally found the filter too. My God, it's just this little canister. And there's literally 7 different oil filters for these things. I'm like, why is there 7 different Wix filters? Because it's like, what in the world, Because it's just, oh my goodness. Finally, after 2 different attempts with the local auto parts store, because I screwed up on the one because I thought I had the right filter and it wasn't. And after 2 attempts trying to get the right filter, it was all my fault as far as trying to narrow it down, because it was just, you couldn't get it. So after 2 days later, I finally got the oil changed in the thing. But luckily this was in the summer and she didn't need the car. But it was like, what in the world? I knew people told me Volkswagens are not fun to work on, but holy cow, 2 days on an oil change? Really? I mean, at least now I wrote down the filter and everything. I told her, I'm like, "Listen, we're writing down the oil filter in your book." "Well, why?" I'm like, "That way I know next time when you have me change the oil in it, I know exactly what size wrench," because it's an oddball size wrench. I can't remember even what the size is. It's not like a 15 millimeter or nothing. It's probably like I think it was like a 11 or 12. It's just like, nobody uses that. But yeah. But yeah, that's the whole Ford and Volkswagen story there. But yeah. Four, I want to say, over at our house that we got on literally a real estate auction here in Hannah. So, or I guess it's not a real estate auction. It was a auction. So, homeowner's sale, estate sale. There you go. But yeah, do we get snow? Yeah, actually, we're getting snow flurries today. It was actually snowing up at the port. snowing, I guess, here also, I guess Grandpa said when I got back from the port. He's like, hey, you know it was snowing here? I'm like, yeah, it was snowing up at the port. Nothing measurable, though. We won't. I don't even know when they're talking snow as far as that goes. Put it this way, I don't even want to hear that till we're done after this week. Then it can snow. I don't care. Well, give me a week and a half because then I got to finish vertical tilling, and I want to. It's going to take me about a week to pressure wash and clean up everything, and then it can snow in February because I want to clean up a woods. We want to clean up another woods and a fence row, do some ditch work, and some other projects. Then it can snow. What's the biggest tractor you got? An 8530, 2008 8530 from John Deere. So, I know somebody just asked a question up here. Yeah, why not 4830? Hold on just one second. That one. All right. So on a 4830 Hicks, I did not forget your comment. I'll talk to you on that also. But 4830. So back to the sprayer discussion with the salesman. We talked with the salesman, or I shouldn't say we. Dad and him talked on sprayers, and he threw out there about a 4830, and he's like, yeah, you can find a 4830 with 120-foot booms, but even if you found one with the standard 100-foot or 90-foot, you probably don't want a 4830 or 30 series in general, just due to primarily the 4830s. The weight distribution on those, they could not ever get perfected. He was talking about also about them trying to move the tank around on there to perfect the weight balancing. Hence, that's why they all have weight bracket attachments on the front, have weights on the front to help the balancing on that. And Dad said he said something about the booms on them, and he couldn't remember what he said on the booms that there was something with the booms, he said, and it was just something that he said, obviously in the R series, every person I talked to, they love the booms on the R series. So I guess there was that on the 4830s or 30 series, that there was something on the booms that they did on them that is just something that you want to watch out for, I guess. But that's why on the 4830, I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to butcher your name. I'm really sorry, but that's why on the 4830s, why we're not looking at those, at least now. I actually found a couple out in Kansas and Nebraska from like American Implement and stuff that I was looking at that had aluminum, all aluminum 120-foot booms. So, but I guess now we're considering this R series. So I don't know. Like I said, we're considering. We're not doing anything. We're just considering options. Are you guys going to stay on 30-inch rows for corn? We're not changing the corn spacing whatsoever. We're not going to go 20s like what some guys have done in the area. Some guys actually went 20s in the area and switched back to 30s again. So as far as I know, in my lifetime, I'm not going to go narrower row spacing. Dad doesn't plan on it either in his lifetime. So thank goodness. Basically, we're just getting stuff all set up for what we've got now, and I really don't want to change what we've got going. So, but for beans, 15s or 20s, more so 15s and 20s. But like I said, I'm more on a toss-up right now between 15s or 20s. So Hicks asked on four-wheel drives here. I believe it was four-wheel drives. There was a cover crop question also from Eric I'll get to here. Uh, Okay, where did that... I swear there was one. Oh. So do you guys plan on getting a 4-wheel drive tractor with PTO to run on a new grain cart? So... I don't know. On that one, I don't know. Really, the 4-wheel drive on a grain cart, yes, I can understand that, but really we don't do enough. We don't do enough hardcore conventional tillage, what you guys would consider conventional tillage. We don't do any on our farm to justify a 4-wheel drive like that. The only thing that we could consider running a larger tractor like a 4-wheel drive on is if we went to, like, say, a 40-foot vertical till, and then that tractor would be, or that vertical till would be restricted to one tractor at that point. And and we do all of our vertical tillage primarily in the fall. We do some in the spring, but if we were to do that 4-wheel drive that would be on the grain cart would also be needed on the vertical till. And it's kind of like what we've got going with the 8530. Not, like I said, like what we currently can run the 4650 on it. It's just a lot of the time we just like running the 8530 on it, just because we're not restricted to 6 mile an hour. With the 4650, if you want to run just 6 mile an hour with the vertical till at a certain, with the depth that we've currently got it set at, even when we run it on the 8530, we don't change it to a specific depth to, go deeper with the 8530. We don't, because we don't want to go deeper. We want to do exactly like what we've been doing. So, which is what vertical tillage is designed to do. You're not doing heavy, deep tillage, like what some people try and do with it, and then complain and say, well, why in the world, this vertical till sucks? It's like, well, you're trying to use it like a disc. If you want to use it like a disc, go out and buy a disc. Plain and simple. My phone keeps buzzing here. All right, so cover crops. There was a cover crop question from Eric. What do you guys do with the cover crops after you plant the rye or put the rye in the ground? How is it harvested? Just curious. So when we do cover crops, we either have them drilled, like what we did some on this year, just because there was extra in the drill from when we planted it for seed. So we either drill, we either broadcast and incorporate with the vertical till, so we'll actually have them spread and worked in with the vertical till, or when we're harvesting them, we will drill and then harvest them just the same as what you do wheat. Basically, it's just a taller version of wheat. That's basically what rye is. That's the easiest way to explain it. So, basically harvest it very similar to wheat. Very similar. And I mean very similar. I mean very similar. So, yeah. That's... So when we plant cover crops, then, as far as for a cover crop and not for cover crop seed, when we do cover crop seed, we will drill it just like what you do wheat. When you do, when we say do the broadcasting and incorporating with the vertical till in the spring, then we will either plant live into that cover crop and say wait till the corn's up and then terminate with Roundup, or wait till like right before planting, like a day or two before, and then plant into it after we sprayed it. It just all depends on the weather forecast, but primarily we plant live or plant green, what the more correct term is, and then terminate after we plant. So, and typically sometimes more so than not after the corn's up. So same with beans. So we actually drill in the live also, or green also. The more politically correct term. So, do you have any complaints about your S690 combine? Technical issues all the time. Computer issues. I know I wouldn't say like major computer issues, like what I talked about earlier. That's like it's just minor, tiny little things, just computer related. That's it. Mechanically, it's great. I mean, I love it. I mean, there's a lot of nice features on it mechanically that they changed, but just tiny little computer issues. So, will you update to the 4640 display? I did, and I think it's a huge upgrade. So when I bought the 2630 or was in the process of buying the 2630 display, I mentioned to the dealer and I asked him, or our salesman, and said, "What do you think about 4640? Do you think that's something that we would like?" He said no, just because of it being so subscription based, which I agree. I mean, that's kind of annoying with everything being subscription based. I still really like the 4640 display though. I wouldn't mind running it someday on our equipment. So I hope I got majority of your guys' comments answered on here. Let me scroll back down to the most recent stuff. Yeah, Paulson, that's what I've heard. I mean, that's what our salesman said. I mean, it's just about the weight balancing on the 30 series. So, otherwise, basically, what I've heard on the R series, which, I've heard on R series across the board as far as not just sprayers, but everything, R series basically fixed a lot of minor little complaints and issues that the 30 series across the board had, whether that be a sprayer or a tractor. So now I'm not saying we're completely ruling out 30 series. I'm just saying our dealer completely ruled them out for us and said, this is what you should consider. Well, it's up to us primarily. Like, this is our 100% our decision. So I'm not saying that we ruled them out. I'm just saying, salesmen ruled them out. So, but, they want to sell us the latest and greatest stuff, which I can understand, which that's good. He's making sure that we're up in the times and stuff like that, I guess. But there's a point where you need to draw the line in the sand and basically say, listen, but not that I don't want an R series, man. The sprayer that he showed us, wow, I love it. I mean, it looks. I can definitely see us running it, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we're not doing anything. We're just considering options, hypothetically. Do you think the 4650 will go at some point? Go at some point? No, it's staying. I don't plan on getting rid of it. So, any recommendations on what snowblower you should get? No clue. No clue on that. There. I mean, that's. I'm not. I'm not even gonna take a gander at that. Too many options. Oh. Do you have a loader tractor? Yes. So the 4430 is considered the loader tractor. It's got a 260 loader on it. And I can't remember when we bought the 265 loader for it. It was around the first time we got the 4430. So 4430 was not bought new. It was bought with a new engine. The dealer installed a new engine in it because the engine blew up on it with the previous owner, I think with only 700 hours on it. Ran it on an auger and just ran it, I guess, and it blew up. So I don't know. I don't know the full story on that. Grandpa does, and that would be for something if Grandpa ever was on the live stream that you guys could ask him about that. So we are getting close on harvest, Ryan. We are, as far as it coming, it's going to be done probably on Saturday, roughly, give or take, maybe Friday, just depending on when we get done with custom work. So well, I guess if there's no further comments here, questions as far as anything, I'll give it like another minute here, or 2 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and end the stream. Like I said, I'll try and get you guys that video out tomorrow. I don't know. YouTube's just processing them, so I don't know what the deal is there. It seems like it takes a while on my videos, so I don't know why. I'll do my best with YouTube there. So hopefully tomorrow and every day this week. And yeah, basically, I think, let me just pull up my YouTube, or let me just pull up the channel here real quick, what video I'm even on. I would say there's at least going to be 15 more, roughly 15 more harvest videos, at least 15 to 20, just by looking at where I'm at right now. So there's a lot more content yet to come. So what I've gotten around with the long upload times there, Mark, is I've got LTE on my iPad, and since I've been uploading on editing on my iPad, I just started uploading on my iPad instead of just going off of Wi-Fi. Speeds things up so much faster. I love it. So, and with the unlimited data, I mean, we just have an unlimited data plan because we were running 20 gigs, and we just realized that it's just not sufficient with 20 gigs with everything we do on our phones as far as for the farm. So it just makes more sense to just get unlimited data. So, yeah. Hey, no problem. Yeah, I'll, like I said, I try and reply to almost every single comment on here. If I miss one, I'm really sorry, but yeah, I do my best to try and stay on top of the comments here. So, because that's exactly what these live streams are designed for, as far as the way I run them. You know, it's just more me getting in depth with you guys as far as you guys want to know. So, I used to, Mark. That's when I just drew the line and just said, screw it. I'm just going to use my iPad for the editing, majority of it, and upload off of there because it's just so much faster. So thank you guys for watching tonight, or tuning in and participating, I guess. Real quick, what camera do you use to record videos? I use a GoPro Hero 8. I guess they call them blacks still. I know they used to call them black and silver, and just regular. I think they still call this series black. But GoPro Hero 8. So, and then the drone footage is with either a Mavic 2 Pro or a Phantom 4 Pro from DJI. So, but all GoPro Hero 8s. I got 4 of those. So, but anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Next live stream, I'm thinking probably Sunday again. Next Sunday, possibly. I'll post it on community tab there. So if you guys want to follow the community tab, I'll have stuff posted on there about the videos and stuff like that when, you know, stuff's getting released, and live streams and stuff like that. So be sure to follow that. Be sure to follow me on Snapchat, Werner_Farms. Instagram's the same. And I guess I will catch you guys in the next live stream, and hopefully I will have a video for you guys out tomorrow and video out every single day this week. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys, I guess, in the next live stream.